Here we go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, at the Rush Hour Sports Network. It is yours truly, Jay Smooth, as always. And of course, joining me, back again, actually, first time in 2021, is of course my co host, B Money. What's going on, Money?
What's up? What's up? We starting off 2022 with a bang, man.
Yeah, man, it's funny. I think, my second video this year, but my first one with you, so we definitely gotta make this one count.
Indeed.
Absolutely. So just jumping right into the action. There was no game. There was nothing on Thursday night this past week. Nothing on
Thank
Thursday.
goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness for that. Usually those games were pretty brutal toward the end. So no Thursday. All we had was Sunday and our final Monday night game, which we will get to in a moment. But starting off, 20-16, the Eagles take out the Washington football team, and actually this had a lot of headlines in it, believe it or not. Quite a bit of headlines in it. Not only were the Redskins Washington officially eliminated from playoff contention in this game. The stadium actually collapsed, and when Jalen Hurts went
Oh
to,
yeah.
yeah, when he went to high five some fans, a safety rail, which was, by the way, revealed to only be held together by zip ties, because that's very safe.
Bruh.
Exactly, just zip ties. Of course, holding back a bunch of fat Philadelphians. You know what I mean? All of them leaning over the rail, and of course the thing gave out, and it nearly fell right on Jalen Hurts, who already had a rough day as it was. And of course, that stadium falls apart. And you know what? This can be added to the long list of things that's wrong with FedEx Field, man, because the field is garbage.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
say, didn't we just have a leak at that field a couple weeks ago?
yeah, it was a sewage leak actually, and it fell on some of the fans there. Some of the fans that paid a nice premium to get those seats, they were
God
splashed
damn.
with sewage. Yeah, man, it's bad. Plus, the parking situation is trash. Like according to people that I know that are Washington fans, my father specifically, the biggest one. He told me it takes an estimated hour and 15 minutes to get out of that parking lot on a game night. Hour and a half,
Damn.
exactly.
That's way too much. Come on.
And by the way, it's like the way it's set up, because I've never been there myself, but apparently they don't have much of a parking lot. So you basically have to park at a parking lot that's near it. Then you got to walk basically like 2, 3 miles just to get in. And then just to get out, you got to walk all the way to your car. And then you have to sit in the line for basically an hour, hour and a half of just cars. Like the whole thing is a mess. The whole experience is not good. And I mean, hey, the team is just as bad. And by the way, speaking of the team, I don't know if you heard this, but February 2nd, 2022, the Washington team announced that on the Today Show on February 2nd, the second day of Black History Month, they will reveal their new team name and logo. They are actually going to do it. They finally have a team name and they finally have a logo. There's been rumors running wild. I've heard everything from commanders to defenders, even admirals, and it's just okay. It's obviously going to be a very DC theme to this team. I even heard Red Hogs, which I mean, if they were called the Red Hogs, you may as well call them the DC Bacon Squad or something. Exactly. That's the only thing people think about with that. It's funny. Apparently, a popular name was Red Wolves and Wolves, but some other teams already own those trademarks. I imagine the Minnesota Timberwolves own it. I'm pretty sure some college teams probably do as well. So they
True.
couldn't, yeah. So they could not get away with that one. Warriors was a number one, but another one. But obviously, the Warriors out west and Steph Curry would not allow that to go down. Which is a shame because Washington Warriors not a bad name. But anyways, Washington, they're full of issues, and yet, even though their season is over, they are officially out of the playoffs. They're going to be in the headlines for at least another month, considering the team name. And I mean, if we're going to be honest, the team name is just another attempt to cover up all the other bad stuff happening there.
Indeed.
Absolutely. So Washington, it's not the last we heard of you. The Eagles, by the way, they get a win, and they're one step closer to at least getting in that playoff spot. They're likely going to get a wild card out there, but we have to see though. It still depends on that final week. Speaking of final week, the Rams get a close game over the Ravens, 20-19. The Ravens actually played a good game in this one. Matty Stafford played like trash. He threw two interceptions, including a pick six to Chuck Clark. And honestly, it was not one of his better days. Odell Beckham Jr., who had a weird moment where he where an interception was thrown, and he punched the guy that intercepted the ball. He punched him in the ass. I don't know why he did that. I guess he tried to go for the ball, ended up hitting him in the ass. It became a meme, and that's no joke. That's real. And
Yeah, I mean, he very much missed the football.
he very much missed the football. The one thing he exactly he hit a wrong target on that one. Unfortunately for the Ravens, he did not miss the end zone in the end. It ended up putting a dagger right through the Ravens' hearts. Now the Ravens could still get in the playoffs. Lamar Jackson is rumored to be playing next week, even though I think that's a bad idea if that happens. But they would need help from, I believe the teams were the Colts, the Dolphins, the Browns, and like one other team has to lose. Like the
Actually,
Chargers, the
it's
Chargers.
only the Colts, Dolphins, and Chargers.
Chargers, yeah, that was the Chargers. That was the other team I was thinking of. But apparently, it's since it's just the Colts, Dolphins, and Chargers. I assume because of what the Browns just did, which we'll talk about in a bit. Yeah, they need those teams to lose, and that's going to be tough. However, the Ravens are facing a beat up Big Ben in the final game, and let's be honest, Big Ben's final swan song game felt like last night. So who knows how he's going to be playing when it comes to Sunday, but we shall see.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the Ravens' hopes are, I'll just put it this way: the Colts are playing the Jaguars,
Exactly.
so that says everything you need to know. So.
Exactly. Pretty much right there. Oh man, and you want to talk about the highlight of the day? The Buccaneers beat the Jets 28-24. But of course, the story was not the game. Of course, it was who other than Antonio Brown, who randomly during this game, in which even though even though it didn't start out pretty for the Bucks, it ended up being what we expected, which is them to win. He decided to take off his jersey, remove his jersey, and effectively remove himself from the team. He just waved all the fans and he ran out of there while the team was set, while the offense, the Buccaneers offense, was setting up for another play. He ran on the field like a fan that just jumped out of the seats and was about to be tackled by security. In a very bizarre act, but I mean, let's be honest. This is probably the only thing that trumps. What's the guy from Buffalo that retired at halftime? Vernon was it not Vernon Davis? It was some other corner or something.
Vontae Davis.
Vontae Davis. Thank you. This is the only thing that trumps retiring at halftime, retiring before halftime, and literally just saying, you know what, fuck you all, I'm out. I did not.
See, the thing is, at least Vontae Davis, he didn't make a scene about it.
Right, right. And that's the thing though. It would not be Antonio Brown unless he made a scene of it. It really would not be Antonio Brown unless the man made a complete scene of it. Halftime was not far away. I think it was like maybe like pretty close to halftime when this happened. So when it went down, it was pretty shocking. But then of course when you realize who's involved, it's not. He's no longer a Buccaneer though. And I gotta say, I bet the Bucks feel pretty stupid about covering up for him. Because remember the whole fake vaccination card thing? He should have been kicked off the team after that. Because it was the one mistake, and Arians had to go against his word. But
I mean, we could go back and argue that he should have never been a Buccaneer to begin with. So
oh,
that's a whole other thing.
absolutely, definitely should have never been a Buck to begin with. I know Tom Brady has no regrets because he won a Super Bowl. He managed to get a Super Bowl out of this guy, which
That's
is
true.
which is a lot considering how crazy he is. Do you know how good you have to be to get a Super Bowl out of a guy like that?
Well, yeah, and AB played well during that Super Bowl run and in the Super Bowl itself.
He absolutely did, and that's what's crazy. He was playing well throughout this season, and really they needed him considering what happened to Chris Godwin. And at one point, you even saw Mike Evans trying to prevent him from quitting, and yet he just said, "I'm done." Very bizarre, but hey, the man's pretty much done. But I will say this: if he comes low on money, and there is a team that is desperate, in desperate need of a star-making wide receiver, they will be crazy. There's probably a team crazy enough to take him. Oh, desperate, I should say.
If anybody's paying AB, they need to be paying him to go to therapy.
Absolutely, they need to keep that man off the field at this point.
exactly.
They need to. Unfortunately, I feel like this is not the end though, because that man knows how to hog the camera. That is for sure. And in our next game, oh boy, this was a blowout here, 34-3. This, well, actually, no, this can't be Skull Drag of the Week. The next game will be. But this one
Damn.
right, yeah, this one right here though was pretty damn bad. I mean, Tua didn't even put up a touchdown in this one. The Titans just did whatever they wanted to Miami, and I'll tell you what, they're going to go to the playoffs and they're going to get Derrick Henry back. But as we talked about before, what is Derrick Henry going to be like when he comes back? That's the question with this team. But even so, the Titans have somehow been able to maintain, and even though it's been a bumpy ride, they've been able to cruise to the playoffs with Derrick Henry, even though they lost him at an inopportune time.
Yeah, and I believe news is Derrick Henry returned to practice today
Yeah.
for
Oh
the first
wow.
time. So maybe he might even end up playing on Sunday when the Titans play the Texans, as they'll be as number one seed is on the line for the Titans right now. So
Yeah, and at this point, the Texans are going to be like a warm up preseason game for him, so it's not going to be any harm to give him some carries just to warm him up,
yeah,
especially for the playoff run. Oh man, yeah, let's get to our skull drag of the week. This is the Patriots just kicking the Jaguars in the face relentlessly, not showing any mercy. They destroy him 50-10, and I mean, at this point, the Jaguars are coasting through the season. The fans are booing not the team, but they're booing the owner. They're booing the boy that runs AEW and his father. They're basically booing him out of the building every week because their team is just complete trash. And as for the Patriots, I mean, they're just gearing up for the playoffs at this point. Belichick is making sure that Mac Jones is knowing what's ahead. But yeah, not too much to report on that one. I will
yeah.
say though, a lot more to report on this though. Look at this upset loss. The Raiders getting a field goal win over the Colts 23-20. Certainly didn't see that one coming. And now the Raiders are in a position where if they beat the Chargers somehow next week, they could very well find themselves in a playoff spot. But if they tie with the Chargers, things could also get very interesting there too. But yeah, now they're in that spot. But who knows what's going to happen next week? Well, this weekend when they play them. I will say though, the Raiders don't have any quit in them yet. I thought they would after Gruden left, but I was wrong. They still got some fight left.
Mhm.
And in our next game, you want to talk about another upset? We had the Cincinnati Bengals defeat the Kansas City Chiefs 34-31. This was a close field goal game right here. The Bengals wrap up the AFC North with this one. They take the division, as pretty much predicted at this point. And I gotta say, man, Joe Burrow's looking good. The Chiefs don't have anything to worry about, of course, but the Bengals are looking scary heading into the playoff run.
Yeah, I agree. The Bengals are looking real scary, and this is to me like their hugest win of the season thus far. You know, to beat a contending team like the Chiefs this late in the season says a lot about what the Bengals might be able to do and what Joe Burrow is about. So yeah, I'm interested to see this Bengals team in the playoffs and see how they do. This one definitely game of the week for me.
I agree, man. I agree. Our next game, of course, was a nice little swift kick in the face. Bears beat the Giants 29-3. Joe Judge and everybody's going to retain their jobs, which means the Giants are going to suck for at least another 2-3 years. That's pretty much guaranteed there. As for the Bears, they're going to clean house all in the offseason, looks like. The Bills, they beat up on it the Atlanta Falcons 29-15. The Bills are going to try to gallop their way into the playoffs, but I mean, at this point, they beat up on a bad team. However, I will say the Bills have kind of underachieved this season a little bit. However, with the playoffs ahead, they have a chance to make a statement and go on a bit of a run here. Do you think that's at least a possibility?
I think it's definitely a possibility. I mean, they've won a couple games here late. I think maybe they might be getting their stride a little bit. We'll see. We'll see.
Definitely, we'll definitely have to see about that. Speaking of teams trying to get their stride, the 49ers take a 23-7 win over the Houston Texans. Of course, Texans, we already know about them. They're a bad team. 49ers just trying to get some wins together so they can get themselves prepared for the playoff run. Because, I mean, hey, they've knocked off teams this season that they weren't really supposed to beat. But they certainly found a way there. Certainly found a way to do it. It's going to be an interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what they do next week, though. They need to keep the momentum going because they can't really afford to have any sort of loss at this point. Because if they have a loss now, like next week, they're probably going to lose when it really matters.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Then in our next game, we have the Chargers who beat up on the Broncos 34-13. Broncos pretty much done. The Chargers, of course, get a big win here. They're essentially looking ahead to a very important game with the Raiders where it's pretty much win or go home for them at this point. Like they need to win that game. They need to. They've lost too many games this season where it should have been wins on their record, but they just didn't quite achieve it. So the Chargers really need to get their run going now, and this is a good one to start it.
Yeah. Yeah. And our game next week is going to be huge. So we'll see.
Absolutely, I believe it's a primetime game too. I believe it's Sunday night. I believe it's the final Sunday night game of the year, so it's going to be huge. Definitely going to be huge. In our next game, we had the Saints defeat the Panthers 18-10. I'm gonna be honest with you. The Saints, they're banged up. It's essentially the running game and everybody else. Kamara just putting that team on the shoulders. As for Carolina, they're looking ahead to next year. Cam Newton will probably not be on that team next year. Uh, I
I
would
think that's
not.
a guarantee.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be surprised if they are looking for a quarterback. And unfortunately, one of the quarterbacks that was supposed to be highly touted for the draft this year, Matt Corral from Ole Miss, he injured his ankle in the bowl game against Baylor, and he's gonna miss some significant time. So we'll see if his draft stock is going to stay or if it's going to drop. Oh goodness, this was a nice kick in the face. Seattle put up 51 points on Detroit, 51-29, but at least Detroit put up more points than the Jaguars did when giving up 50 plus. That's one thing they can hang their hat on. Dan Campbell, of course, he's going to try to build up that Lions team. As for the Seahawks, and you know what, bro, I was talking to a good friend of mine who watches our shows every week. He's kind of thinking the same thing I am. He's a Seahawks fan. Uh, it feels as if either Russell Wilson is going to leave or Pete Carroll is going to leave or possibly both. I feel like this might be it.
I agree. Yeah, I think this is the end of an era for that Seattle team.
It really is. That defense is obviously not the same. The offense is essentially DK Metcalf with no running game and no offensive line, while poor Russell Wilson is left to fend and run for his life. It certainly feels like the end of an era. That Legion of Boom defense and Legion of Boom era with Marshawn Lynch in the backfield was certainly something special. But yeah, it's time for the Seahawks to look ahead to good things. Good win here, but yeah, I believe a rebuild's on the way in. We might be seeing Russell Wilson's last game as a Seahawk this coming weekend, man. Either that or Pete Carroll's last game as a Seahawk. So certainly something to look out for there.
Yeah.
In a big win scenario, the Cardinals come through 25-22. They beat the Dallas Cowboys by 3. This was certainly a win the Cardinals needed to get their momentum high before the playoffs go. And I got to say, man, Kyler Murray, he just plays different in Dallas, man. He's undefeated, by the way, in Jerry's world, going back to his high school days. I believe the record is 8-0 overall when you combine his entire football life. He's always undefeated in Texas, and he just keeps it alive yet again. Dallas, of course, they need to adjust a little bit and keep some things tight on that defense if they want to make a big run in the playoffs. Certainly a good game right here. I watched this one right here. This was fun.
Yeah, it's as you said, it's a huge win for the Cardinals because they have been sliding for weeks and hadn't been able to beat good teams. I think that was the most important thing. They hadn't been able to beat good teams. So to beat another playoff team or soon to be playoff team, the Dallas Cowboys in Dallas, I think is a huge win for Arizona. That, as you said, will right the ship for them heading into the playoffs.
I agree, man. I definitely agree. One thing that was not so fun to watch was Green Bay kicking Minnesota in the face 37-10. Minnesota, of course, long going out of the playoff race. But I'll say this, though. That game right there may have been, I think, Mike Zimmer's doing right there. Mike Zimmer might finally get fired. Of course, there is also rumors that they might be trying to shop around. Well, not shop around, but trying to trade Kirk Cousins. But here's the problem: Kirk Cousins sucks, and I don't know a team desperate enough to take on that contract. But I'll say this: I don't think he's going to be gone, but I do believe Mike Zimmer, the head coach, is going to be out of there. That's going to be yet another head coach that bum Kirk Cousins got fired in the league. He did it before in Washington, and now it's happening here in Minnesota. Sounds like history repeating itself at this point. I'm ready for Kellen Mond to lead this fucking team in like a year and a half because my goodness, Minnesota with Kirk Cousins at the helm is just not it, fam. It's not the move. It is not the move.
Yeah, I see. Well, I mean, I do think it's time for Mike Zimmer to go at least for the
Yeah.
Vikings. I think it's just been too much mediocrity over there,
Way too
and
much mediocrity, way too much failure too, man. Way too much failure ever since
they they need a change.
they do. They definitely do. You want and by the way, going to our Monday night game. You want to talk about teams that need change. Oh boy. The Cleveland Browns drop a big game of the Steelers. This was Big Ben Roethlisberger's final home game as a Steeler, and he wins 26-14. It was a big moment for him, but but listen, as Ravens fans, I can't throw too much praise at Ben. Well, I can. Always been a fun rival. Always, made the rivalry with the Steelers interesting and fun. But the real story in this game to me is Baker Mayfield, or Baker Midfield, as I think he should be called. Um, Listen, I understand he's been playing hurt. I understand that it's been rough. He lost one of his weapons midseason, but the problem is he's the reason that the Browns have not been as successful as they should be. They are stacked on both sides of the ball. They are loaded with weapons on both sides of the ball, playmakers on both sides of the ball. And yet, for some reason, that when it comes to the offense, Baker Midfield cannot hold his end of the bargain. That man ran off Odell Beckham Jr. to LA. Odell couldn't even stand the guy anymore because he's so terrible. Tyreek Hill's kind of fed up with him, I think, a little bit. And Nick Chubb, and by the way, I don't even blame him for this. This is more Stefanski. When Baker is playing bad and Nick Chubb only gets 16 carries, not only is that a Baker Mayfield problem, that is also a Kevin Stefanski problem. And there's also rumors that Stefanski and Mayfield aren't necessarily getting along. And go figure, a guy like Baker, who has a big mouth and is Johnny Manziel 2.0, doesn't get along with an actual adult coach in Kevin Stefanski. However, Stefanski still has plenty of room to blame because, yeah, why throw Baker out there to throw the ball 20, 30 times when you know that his shoulder is messed up? And you have Nick Chubb in that backfield. Why not run the ball more? It was almost as if Stefanski ran Baker out for as long as he did this season to kind of expose him, if you think about it. Because in these games where the Browns have lost, they have thrown more than they ran the ball, and they have healthy running backs back there that are begging Stefanski for the fucking ball, like just to call a run play. Instead, they're having Baker just run that man's arm into the ground, despite him and his shoulder just being driven into the ground by the likes of T.J. Watt over and over and over again. So blame is to be thrown on both sides here. However, I don't think Baker's going to be in Cleveland much longer because even though not everything is his fault, it's clear that he is not the answer for them at quarterback. And we know the Browns' history with quarterbacks. It's horrible.
Maybe they'll be the ones to go after Kirk Cousins.
You know what? That would be hilarious. And honestly, that would make a lot of sense too because and you know what? If they don't go after him, they're going to go after somebody like a Matt Ryan in Atlanta. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna go after somebody that they think is going to turn it around, but probably won't. I hope Russell Wilson doesn't fall into that trap, but I don't see Sierra wanting to live in Cleveland. You know what I mean? Sierra doesn't seem like the Cleveland type. So I don't see him. So I don't necessarily see those two going there. But yeah, man, the Cleveland Browns need a new quarterback, bro. It's time. Baker is just not it. I know he's injured, and maybe if he comes back next year and he's healthy, maybe he'll be traded to the Washington football team, who also need a quarterback. Funny enough, because Taylor Heineke damn sure ain't it over there. Um, they could definitely use it. And actually, you know who else Washington could trade for? What do you think of this? I hate to throw this name out there because of what he's done for the Ravens, but Tyler Huntley.
I mean, I think the way he's played the last month, definitely some teams have been paying attention, and
Yes.
I have a feeling he's gonna wind up fighting for somebody's starting job, if not next year, the year after.
I agree because he's too good. He's easily the best backup quarterback in the league right now. When you see all these backups out here, and a lot of them have been one hit wonders, like Mike White out in the Jets, who had one good game and then he tanked. And then you have some of these other backup quarterbacks that go in the game and just get absolutely destroyed. Sean Mannion, for example, when he played the Packers this past weekend with the Vikings. Tyler Huntley's really been the only backup QB to sort of be thrown into the fire and actually succeed if you think about it.
And he's been doing it consistently. Now, of course, unfortunately,
Exactly.
only one. He's only gotten one win out of his, I think, 3 or 4 games that he's played this year. But
He has.
But he's always had his team in it, and I would venture to say that the losses that he's had as the starter have not necessarily been his fault.
Exactly.
So,
And arguably, if one of those actually went, like, say, to an overtime instead of a two, there's a chance he could have won. Obviously, there's a chance he could have lost in overtime. But there's still that possibility there. So, like you said, not every single loss is Tyler Huntley's fault. So, when you think about it, he's easily the best backup in the league right now. And it wouldn't shock me to see him start for somebody, like you said, if not next year, year after. So, I could see Washington going for a guy like that. If they don't get a Matt Ryan, Baker Mayfield, I could see them going for a Tyler Huntley who would fit in with that offense.
I'll tell you what, though, it's good news for the Ravens, that Tyler Huntley's playing well because, granted, I'm not sure exactly what his contract situation and how long he might be with the Ravens. He might be on contract for next year. But he could be someone that the Ravens trade and get a nice little haul of draft picks in return for. So,
Absolutely, it is certainly a possibility, and we're certainly going to keep our eye on that for sure. And going to our games next week. Actually, you know what? Let me go to I'm gonna go to the gambling site here, mybookie.ag, that we usually go to pull up the odds here. Yeah, there we go. Just for all my gambling people out there. So let's see, 4:30. So we have Saturday games and Sunday games. Keep that in mind this week. On Saturday, 4:30, Kansas City Chiefs, Denver Broncos. That is a pivotal divisional matchup with the Chiefs at minus 500 plus 375 for the Broncos. The point spread is 10, so Chiefs minus 10, Broncos plus 10. Give me the Chiefs in that one. Who you got?
yeah, I picked the Chiefs as well. It's worth noting and adding for the Kansas City Chiefs in this game the playoff implications. If the Chiefs win, they will need a Titans loss to claim the number 1 seed.
Okay, so just a Titan loss. All right, that should be. It's gonna be one to keep our eyes on. Wait, oh yeah, that's gonna be rough for them actually. Just seeing who their opponent is, but we'll get to that in a sec. Next game, the Cowboys and the Eagles. The Cowboys, of course, are a 7-point favorite. Eagles 7-point underdog. Give me the Cowboys on the road here. This one's in Philly. Who you got?
I pick the Cowboys as well.
Nice.
I'm surprised this game is in the night slot just because of the fact that both teams have already clinched the playoffs.
I know, right? They're in the night slot on a Saturday night, and they're both in the playoffs already. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, this game means nothing.
Exactly. Exactly. That division's already wrapped up. I guess they just wanted something to throw on Saturday, but with actually college bowl season is done, so they're probably like, screw it, we own Saturdays now. Oh
Yeah.
boy.
I
All right.
wish they would have just swapped these games since the Chiefs Broncos game actually has playoff implications.
Yeah, that would have been nice actually. Maybe we can get a flex out of it since it is only Tuesday and they got plenty of time to do it, but we'll have to see. Let's see. We got the we're now on Sunday 1 o'clock. The Bears and the Vikings. Vikings are a 2.5 point favorite. Bears 2.5 point underdog. Who you got in this one?
Bears, Vikings.
I'm gonna. It's funny because yeah, it's like both these teams suck, but I'm gonna go for the Vikings because they're at home.
Yeah, I'm with that. The Vikings at home.
And plus, they're a 2 point underdog. I think the Bears can easily cover that even in a loss. So let's see what we got next. Colts and Jaguars. Oh shit. Colts are a 15.5 point favorite. Goodness gracious. Minus 1,200 on the money line. Give me the Colts in that one. I assume that's who you got.
Yeah, I got the Colts as well for the playoff implications. Colts, you win and you're in.
Easy as that. And honestly, I think they're going to get it with that big of a point spread. Goodness
Yeah.
gracious. Titans and the Texans. Speaking of big point spreads, Titans minus 10.5 point favorites on the road. I am going to take the Titans in Texas to get it done against the Texans. Who you got?
Yeah, I picked the Titans as well. Playoff implications for this one: if the Titans win, then they have the number 1 seed, first round bye.
Which will be very nice for Derrick Henry's. What is it? His ankle or shoulder that was injured?
I don't remember.
I feel like it was his leg, but anyway, we'll just say his leg. But yeah, for Derrick
I think it was
Henry.
ankle. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was ankle. All right, so yeah, for Derrick Henry's ankle, I'm pretty sure they're very happy to hear that. Let's see, in our next game, Washington football team, maybe soon to be Commanders, who knows? Minus 6.5 point favorites against the Giants, who are 6.5 point underdogs. Both of these teams are just as poo sewage water as what leaks through FedEx Field every week. Give me the Washington team though.
Yeah. I mean, I think Washington's the better team. Part of me says, I'll just go for the Giants just for fun.
Yeah, why
Who cares
not?
about this game? Nobody cares about this game. So.
Exactly. The only thing noteworthy about this game is this will be the last time Washington football team will be called Washington football team.
Yeah.
Unless their team name happens to be Washington football team, in which that would be hilarious if they just went
Yes.
with it. After 2 years stalling, we're gonna be the Washington football team from now on. Oh, imagine that.
That's the most cop out announcement, and would. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, DC would riot over that alone. Goodness gracious. Oh man. Oh, here we go. Steelers and Ravens. The old rivalry. Only 5.5 points separates us. However, Ravens are 5.5 point favorites. Here's my thing with the Ravens. Well, usually when we pick them, they do well. Gambling with them is always tricky, of course. So for my gamblers, I would not put money on this because this game is just too damn close to call. I'm going to pick the Ravens though. But gamblers, I would say stay away from the rivalry because you will get your heart broken gambling wise. Just pick a team and have fun with this one.
Yeah, I picked the Ravens as well. Man, we've lost how many games in a row? 5, 6 games in a row, something like that.
Yeah, it's been about.
I need them to get some sort of positivity to end the season.
I agree.
So as a Ravens fan, I want the Ravens to win. The playoff implications for this game for the Steelers. If the Steelers win this game, they would need just a Colts loss to get a playoff spot.
Right.
While for the Ravens, if they were to win this game, they still have a chance at making the playoffs. But that is if the Colts, Chargers, and Dolphins all take an L.
Ugh. That is going to be rough considering who the Colts face. That's going to be a tough one. But nonetheless, speaking of Dolphins, they play the Patriots at home. And they're 6.5 point dogs. I'm going to pick the Patriots on the road. Not just because I need them to win for Raven purposes, but because I genuinely think the Patriots are going to beat the Dolphins and they're the better team.
I mean, I do think the Patriots are the better team, but the Patriots have also historically struggled in Miami.
Yes, they do.
So, so I don't know. I think part of me is thinking about picking Miami to win this game. Um, so I think I will.
All right, you'll go with
Just for
Miami on
this.
that one.
Playoff implications for this game for the Miami Dolphins. I believe it's winning their end.
Uh huh.
Um, and then for the New England Patriots, they actually have a chance to get the number 1 seed if and only if the Chiefs, Titans, and Bills all lose. And of course, also with that being said, they have a chance to still clinch their division if the Bills lose.
Interesting. Very interesting. Speaking of Bills, they play the New York Jets. Oh boy, the Jets. And they are, by the way, the Jets are a 16.5 point underdog in this game against the Bills, who are at home, who are 16.5 point favorites. Give me the Bills at home. Bills Mafia will break some tables and they'll break the Jets and send them back to New Jersey, technically, is where they're from. Who you got in this one?
I got the Bills. Also, correction, my bad. Why did I miss this? The Miami Dolphins have been eliminated from playoff contention. They don't have a chance of making the playoffs
Oh, good
after their
lord.
loss to the Titans.
Shit.
But
Wow.
but yeah, for this game, I picked the Bills to win. The only real implications for this game for the playoffs: if the Bills win, then they clinch the division and they are into the playoffs.
Nice. And by the way, since you pointed out that stat about the Dolphins, are you still going to pick them, despite knowing that they are already out of the playoffs and don't have anything to play for?
Well, they do have something to play for. They can be spoilers to the Patriots, you know.
They do, but is their heart going to be in it?
I mean, has their heart ever been in any of the past years when they've also spoiled the Patriots in the past?
Yeah, their heart was in it then. The question is their heart in it now. I don't know. I'm going to have to go Patriots on that one. I didn't realize the Dolphins were eliminated. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's 2 years in a row, by the way, and they had a winning record last year when they were eliminated, which sucks.
Yeah, I think they had the same record that they currently have, 8-8.
Really? Damn. They didn't really improve then.
Or actually no. Actually, now that you brought that up, or were they like 9-7 or something?
I feel like they were either 9-7 or they were like a 10-16 that got shafted. I
Yeah, I think
feel.
they might have actually been 10-6.
Yeah, I feel like they were like the 10-16 that got shafted because the way the playoff structure was, I feel I like we knew one team was gonna get shafted, and I believe that was the Dolphins. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I think so.
but anyways, while you look that one up, Panthers and Buccaneers. Panthers are a, let's see, 8 point underdog. The the Buccaneers are an 8 point favorite. Give me the Buccaneers at home. Who you got in this one?
Bucks Panthers. I picked the Buccaneers.
Nice. We both got the Bucks there. Saints and Falcons. This is in Atlanta. The Saints are a 4 point underdog. I don't know if Taysom Hill's quarterback or if that bum Ian Book from Notre Dame is quarterback, but either way, you know what? This is gonna be Matty Ice's last game in Atlanta. Fuck it, give me Atlanta for the shits and giggles because both these teams suck.
They do, but I mean the Saints defense has been balling for the past couple of months.
Yes,
So
it
I
has.
don't know if it's going to be a good afternoon for Matt Ryan and company. Plus, the Saints still have something to play for. Playoff implications: the Saints can still make the playoffs if they win this game,
Oh
and the
boy.
Niners lose.
Now
So,
that's gonna suck for the Saints because that means they're gonna have to rely on Taysom Hill to win a playoff game. And if we saw
yeah, I
Taysom
mean, it's
Hill,
not ideal. It's
ooh,
not ideal, but it's worth noting that I think there's a chance when you look at who the Niners are playing.
oh, there's absolutely a chance. And what we can guarantee is this: if the Saints somehow get into the playoffs, they're gonna be one and done because I would rather Jameis Winston be starting for this team than Taysom Hill. But
Yeah, no, I agree.
Absolutely, but you are right. Technically, there is a chance. And yeah, just seeing who the 49ers play now, I just looked at it. Oh, yeah, that could very well happen.
Yes, and also correction: Miami Dolphins were 10-6 last year.
Ah, so they were to yeah, so they didn't really get any better then. Damn, that's real unfortunate. They're gonna have to evaluate some shit down south.
Yeah.
That's a shame right there. So let's see who else we got. 425. Oh, Cardinals and Seahawks. This is Russell Wilson's swan song right here. Either his or Pete Carroll's in Seattle. The spread is only 6.5 points. This is in Arizona. Arizona is a 6.5 point favorite in this game. Do you go Russell Wilson or do you go Kyler Murray? You know what? I want to go Kyler Murray, but again, this is well, nah. I think the Seahawks have already lost enough steam. Give me the Cardinals.
Yeah, I'm picking the Cardinals too. They need the momentum getting into the playoffs. Plus, I mean, they're still fighting for something. The Cardinals, if they win this game, they need a Rams loss to clinch the division.
Ah,
So,
oh yeah, that's right. They
much to
technically
play
do.
for Arizona.
Yeah, they do have a lot to play for. Whereas Russell is just going to take one final beat down for the Birds, and then hopefully go on to greener pastures in free agency. And let's see, we have the 49ers and the Rams, of course. We have the Rams as 4 point favorites in this one. You know what? I haven't picked an underdog in this list yet, and I think I'm going to do it now. Give me the 49ers on the road plus 4. I'll take it.
Damn, getting bold.
Yeah,
Getting bold
man.
with it. But hey, I mean, you're right. I mean, this is probably, I'd say one of the biggest, playoff implication games of the day. Right here, Niners and Rams.
This should have been the night game, actually, now I think about it.
Well, the night game also has got some good playoff implications too. But maybe
That's
you can make
true.
an argument that this Niners-Rams game should have been the Saturday night game instead of the Cowboys-Eagles.
Actually, I like that better. You're right about that. This one should have been the nightcap. Oh, man.
I'm gonna pick the Rams.
Oh, okay.
The playoff. Yeah, I'll stick with the favorite.
Nice.
So we can have a divide.
Of course.
The playoff implications: if the Rams win, then they clinch the division.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Niners, if they win, they clinch a wild card spot. So
very interesting. That is high stakes indeed, right there. And this is in LA, folks, in Los Angeles. So keep your eyes open for the Battle of Cali out there. And speaking of which, oh man, the night game right here, like you said, this is very big. The Los Angeles Chargers go on the road to Vegas to play the Raiders. By the way, it is worth noting one of the Raiders players, oh my god, I want to say his name is Huff or something like that. He just got picked up for a DUI after he fell asleep at the wheel while trying to leave a parking garage while drunk in Vegas. So the Raiders lost another player. Yeah, they've lost like 4 players this year. See, having a team in Las Vegas is a bad idea. too much going on out there, man. Too much going on out there. But
rumor is Las Vegas is trying to get another sports team. So
oh lord, oh yeah, that's right. They're trying to get the NBA out there, aren't they? Something like that.
maybe, but I've also been hearing some rumblings that another Oakland team might be headed to LA. That being the Athletics baseball.
Oh, now that. Oh yeah, that's gonna be trouble out there, man. Oh, that's gonna be interesting though. That's gonna be interesting.
That is, of course, assuming that baseball, gets out of their strike. Because I forgot that.
Oh yeah, that's right. They're still on strike right now. Oh goodness. Jeez, baseball, get it together. Oh my goodness. However, in this game, let's see. The Raiders are a 3 point underdog in this. The Chargers 3 point favorite. Give me the Chargers. I feel like not only are they the better team, they certainly not only do they need this one are the better team. When in a playoff scenario, I don't know if I want the Raiders in there considering what that team looks like right now. They've been through a lot of turmoil this season, and I feel like they need to just go ahead and bottom out on this one and then just regroup for next year because they put up one hell of an effort and put up some good fights this year considering everything that happened. But yeah, the Chargers are the complete team right now, and they need to go in the playoffs and make a statement. And this is the type of statement win they want to make. So give me the LA Chargers on the road -3.
Yeah, no, I agree. You know, the playoff implications for this game is pretty simple. Whoever wins this game gets a wild card spot.
Winning, you're in right
Um,
here.
it's as simple as that. Whichever team wins gets the wild card spot. And if there's a team that I feel better about making the playoffs and potentially even doing something, where I feel like needs this playoff appearance more,
Mm-hmm.
it's the Chargers.
I
So
agree with
I
that.
also picked the Chargers.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
The
And
Raiders just need to blow everything up and start again. So
I agree
the
with
last
that.
thing they need is a playoff appearance.
I agree with that 100%, man. They definitely need to restart. And it's funny you say that because as we hit week 18, as we hit the end of the lineup here, there's a good amount of teams that going into the off season I think are going to look completely different next season. Now, when you look at some squads who suffered a lot of injuries, like training camp wise, like the Ravens, for example, the Ravens lost a lot of star players during training camp. That's an example of a team that's likely going to bounce back next year once everybody's healthy. And it's the same with a lot of other squads who like they had a lot of promise on paper, but then when they were either decimated or COVID hit or whatever the hell, whatever obstacles hit, some of these teams certainly need to regroup. The Raiders, of course, lost their coach mid-season. The Jaguars had to fire Urban Meyer after he nearly destroyed that locker room. The Buccaneers just lost their star wide receiver who literally upped and quit during a game. Like all sorts of madness. So with week 18 on the horizon, folks, even if your team does not make the playoffs this year, know one thing. Know one thing. There's going to be a lot of changes happening. Hell, Russell Wilson may be on a different team next year. Matt Ryan will be on a new team next year. There's still questions to be answered in some other organizations in terms of quarterback and long term future, like the Browns, who still have quarterback problems they need to discuss. Of course, the Ravens have that whole thing with Lamar and trying to sign him and everything. So it's a lot, man. There's a lot of things that need to be discussed. Of course, there's the whole Saints thing, what they're going to do with Jameis Winston when he comes back from his injury, considering the whole mess with Taysom Hill and that weird contract they signed him to midseason. The 49ers, they're on a run, but is Jimmy G going to be their quarterback next year, or is it going to be time for Trey Lance to step up? You see, so we have nothing but storylines here to follow even after the season's over. So really, I think things are about to get crazy now. Now that we're entering the final week of the regular season, this is where you start to see a lot of moves made. You see coaches fired on what they call Black Monday. You'll start to hear teams talk about, drafting and what type of position players they want, and we'll start to hear hype for college prospects and whatnot. So this is starting to become a pretty exciting time in football, if you ask me.
Yeah, yeah, we're at that point where the season's about to end, and as I said, we're about to get all these decisions about coaches. We're about to head into the playoffs. It's exciting times.
It really is, man. And I gotta say, folks, enjoy this final week because after this, next week, Smooth Money, the duo name, will be covering the final, not just the final week of the regular season, but we will be officially heading into playoff time when things get very interesting. And by the way, just to cover a couple of news topics before we get out of here, it should be noteworthy, well, not noteworthy, but noteworthy that Titans linebacker Bud Dupree was cited for misdemeanor assault today. So he's not going to be playing this weekend, most likely. Of course, the Washington football team will have their new logo February 2nd. The Jaguars are apparently going to interview Jim Caldwell. Well, apparently they interviewed him earlier today. And Jim Caldwell, of course, as some people may remember, he was the head coach, what was it, of the Detroit Lions last? If I
Next.
remember if I remember correctly, I believe Caldwell was the Lions coach last, and he just interviewed with the Jags today. Let's see who else, and of course, I would say top news of the day: Baker Mayfield is being shut down by the Browns to finally have surgery on his shoulder after being essentially fed to the wolves for a good chunk of the season. My goodness. Baker, get well soon. I know, right? I mean, if you think about it, you have Nick Chubb in that backfield, you have Tyreek Hill in that backfield, and Kevin Stefanski said, fuck it, I'm going to expose this kid. Throw 30, 40 times. Like, why? You know? It just didn't make sense to me. He got all them weapons, and yet they just threw Baker Mayfield's arm into the ground, and now Baker's going to have surgery on his rotator cuff, all because Stefanski wanted to expose him. So that is a damn shame. And by the way, the Browns play. Who did the Browns play this weekend that we said? They play. Oh, that's right, they do. Yeah, they're going to lose, aren't they? They're going to lose by like 40 points.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, oh, yeah, they're going to lose by at least 40. So, yeah, that sucks for the Browns. Stefanski's probably going to stay. Baker's probably going to go. That'll be noteworthy there. But anything you would like to end with before we get out of here?
Happy New Year. It's 2022. Oh, my God.
I know. How about that, man?
And, yeah, enjoy our final week of football. My last question for you: who you got in the national championship game?
Oh, that is a very good question. It's funny you mention that because not only am I going to release a separate video about that for all the gamblers out there, but I am going to go ahead and give you the sneak peek pick. I am picking Alabama because not only is Alabama a betting underdog, for some reason Vegas still thinks Georgia's the shit. I mean, if we're gonna be honest if I'm gonna be honest here, Alabama made Cincinnati look like they didn't belong in the college football playoff. You know what I mean? Like they just beat the hell out of them. Cincinnati had no shot. They were overmatched. Even Alabama's like second and third stringers were some of the best in the country, and they were just abusing Cincinnati and made them look like a Division II school out there. And when I saw that, I said, "Oh, there's no way Georgia's gonna win." Now, even though Georgia beat up on
Did the same thing to Michigan, though.
yeah, I was about to say, even though Georgia did the same thing to Jim Harbaugh's brother in Michigan, the only thing that's going to be different here, Alabama already owns Georgia this year. Like, they already own them. And listen, I'm taking this from you because you have taught me this over the years. Georgia will choke when it matters most. They will do it. They will do it.
The Atlanta Braves.
That is true. The Braves, I thought, broke that curse, but did they break it, or is it still there?
I don't know. You tell me. You look at the 7-9 Falcons, and you tell me.
I mean, it is still. Look, you have the 7-9 Falcons, and then you have the Georgia Bulldogs. So it's like you got the best of both worlds there. But then again, Atlanta, the Falcons are bad. So that's. I guess that'll always trump the dogs, I guess, in certain parts. But I'll tell you what, though. I feel like Alabama's the better pick. They are an underdog, by the way. Alabama, I think, is an underdog by 3 points. I'm taking that all day. I am taking that all day, every day. I'll have a separate video on that, of course, for all the degenerates that are going to watch this and gamble on that game. But yeah, give me Alabama. I assume that's who you have too, right?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Hey, look, I'll tell you what. Nick Saban joins Chip Kelly and Urban Meyer as examples of coaches that should have never gone to the NFL. Oh, and Bobby Petrino. Bobby Petrino's pretty trash, too.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I'll tell you what, man. It's crazy to me how, like, you have coaches in college, like a Nick Saban, that are just wildly successful. But when they get to the league and they try to coach that same way in college, it just doesn't translate, man. It just goes to show how different the NFL is. What do you think about it? Absolutely. And folks, thank you all so much. Hey, B-Money, appreciate you, bro. One more week to go, my brother, before playoff time. I know you'll be here for it.
For sure, for sure.
No doubt, my brother. Hey, I'll see you next week. Everybody at Rush Hour, I'll see you all next week. Until then, we gone. Enjoy the games. And remember, if your team is not going to the playoffs, just take in this final game for what it is. Come back here. We'll wrap up your season for you. And then you can sit back and see which one of these teams ends up taking the Lombardi Trophy. It is yours truly, Jay Smooth, for B Money. And folks, Smooth Money, we gone.